So welcome, Nick.
Hi, Vanessa. Nice to be here.
Thank you for agreeing to do this with me. I'm really grateful.
Thank
And
you.
I'd love it if you could start off by telling us what it is that you do that you love.
Um, what I do that I love is I'm very passionate about supporting people in finding the words and the ideas which most clearly express who they are. So what I know is that everybody has an inkling of who they are and what they want to do, but they can't always find the words or the ideas which articulate that in a clear and concise way that allows them to have the impact that they want in the world. So I would consider myself to be like a midwife for 1,000 ideas that change the world. And that's what I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about having the creative conversations which allow people to get that kind of clarity. And then be able to step out into the world with their idea or their project with newfound confidence.
And so what does that give you?
I think I'm a creativity geek. I think I loved playing in the sandpit as a kid, and I love the sense of, you create something beautiful and then it collapses, and you go, oh, let's put a tunnel here, or let's put a sandcastle there, and you know that you can just kind of sweep it all out of the way and start again. I love the process, the iterative process of creativity, of trial and error. I'm a bit of a junkie around that kind of process, and so it's something that I love to do myself. And I think I make it safe for other people to do that as well.
It sounds really resilient, like kind of, if a tunnel collapses here, then we can build another one. Is that how
the tunnel's collapsed, and then it's become a valley. It's like just staying present with what it's becoming.
Yeah.
Rather than, failure is not failure. It's just that what seems to be the mistake can be the starting point of the raw material of something new.
Yeah, and I hear it's kind of playful too. The way that it's spontaneous and playful, and is that what it gives you too?
I think what I get pleasure from now is actually helping create the safety for people. To enjoy the play. From my own experience as a journalist and a writer and a creative, I've put many projects out there into the world, and I know that one of the things that brings up the most fear for people is actually being exposed on a stage. Now, a stage includes publishing a blog. It's another form of stage. Having an audience is something that brings up stuff for people. And so there's a lot of fear associated with the creative process because people anticipate what the outcome's going to be. This creative pursuit is for a public performance, and so they're already anticipating being seen by, however many tens or hundreds of thousands of people. And that gets in the way of the creative genesis, if you like. And so, what I love to do is to actually create safety around the creative discovery process so that they are free to experiment, free to fail. And knowing that when the time is right, when the ideas are the most resonant and most powerful, they will know. There's a way of knowing. And then they will be ready and can begin to prepare for the performance part.
That's so cool. And so what's been the journey to get here, Nick? Has it been kind of like a natural, easy progression, or challenging, or what's it been?
No, not been easy. I've often judged the fact that I've started lots of projects and then quit them, not realizing that what I actually liked was my speciality in creating first the crucible of creativity where the idea emerges. So I would start lots of different projects and not realizing that what I was most passionate about was the creation of the project, not necessarily following it through. And so that was borne out mostly through my work as a journalist, then also starting different businesses, failing lots of times because the business wasn't sustainable, and I lost interest after having the aha moment of what the company would be called, what the strapline would be, and what the logo would be. And the business would fizzle out, and I'd think, well, why is it fizzled out again? And of course, the reason being is because I loved that part. And so now, what I do now is that having recognized the piece that I love, I sell that. And that's what the purpose of my business is. So it's not been easy. It's taken, I sometimes feel a bit of a dullard that I didn't realize sooner that what I loved was that piece, but I'm here now.
And so if you were to meet people that are struggling to do what they love, so they haven't got through that journey to realize the elements that you have, what advice would you give from kind of where you are to them?
I think the money gremlin is just the first thing you've got to address. I think the collapse between pleasure, what I do, whether what I want to do will make me money, it is so big that people will often override and often dismiss what gives them pleasure as the source of creating an income because they judge that it can't. And so you really have to address the money issue straight away. And that can be on a practical level. It can be, okay, this passion that I have realistically can't make all of my income right now. So let's put a structure in place to support its growth. Yeah. I think of, an image I use with my clients around creativity is to think of yourself as a gardener. A gardener will put a seed in a tiny little pot and put it in a safe environment, a greenhouse, to let it grow. Then it gets transplanted to a slightly bigger one, and then a slightly bigger one. It doesn't go out into the garden where it's exposed to the elements for quite some time. So you be willing to propagate your passion until it's got roots and ready to sustain all of your income. That's one of the pieces of advice I would give, especially around money. And then the other piece is is to really consider what fulfillment looks like for you. Is fulfillment really having enough money to do additional things? And also the benefit that you being fulfilled in fulfilling your pleasure will give to the people around you. I'm a parent of 2 kids, and it was obvious to me, and my partner didn't hesitate to tell me how the impact that my being pissed off with my work had on the family, and that there was a payoff to be considered between me doing something I loved and being a happier person, and potentially chasing money in a way that ran me down into the ground and left me miserable. And so I think a philosophical conversation about where your fulfillment comes from and whether additional money in the short term can actually make that better.
And do you, just out of curiosity, do you still get hooked sometimes by that money gremlin? Like, so despite having that philosophy, does it come up sometimes like, shit, I wish I had I wish I'd go back here or do something that would.
I'm tempted to say I'm far more elevated than that. No, I'm hooked all the time. And to be really honest with you, I'm in the gardening metaphor. I am somewhere between the plant that really has a strong root ball and being planted into the ground outside. My passion is at that stage right now. I'd say it's being planted outside right now. And there it is. I still have additional work that's supporting a smaller percentage of our income.
Yeah.
It isn't based around my sole pleasure.
And so when it gets challenging, kind of what keeps you going? What keeps you walking on this path?
Bloody-mindedness, probably.
How does that? What does that look like or sound like?
I think that I've been burnt enough in certain jobs where I obviously my personality type wasn't a good fit for the company or for the role that I'd be a masochist to continue doing that. There has to be a level of maturity and self-acceptance about who you are. I think Myers-Briggs has really helped me. I'm an INFP. I'm a creative, a healer, a diplomat. I'm not suited to roles that are involved with numeracy and accountancy, for example. So don't go chasing that kind of role. That bloody-mindedness is also about self-acceptance. And I think from that self-acceptance, you can find the resilience to really begin to trust that actually when you're kind of new age term, vibrating, you're transmitting your passion, then you almost psychically, magnetically draw people, circumstances into your world that want what you have.
Yeah.
And the more precise you are about that, the more likely you are to find a good match of people who need what you have. And again, that's a process of learning to trust that principle. It takes time.
Yeah. And so the thing that kind of hooked me in our conversation has been, you've said twice two metaphors. One was a birthing metaphor and one was like a propagating metaphor. And is that how you see yourself, like a midwife almost, a kind of someone that enables somebody else to blossom, if you like?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Well, I've been looking at, writing life purposes recently, and as a writer, of course, and being addicted to the sandpit experience, I'm always kind of like throwing out the old life purpose statement and inventing a new one. And so this one here, I'm a midwife of 1,000 ideas which changed the world, is the one that I came up with last night, and it'll probably be done in about a week's time.
So
it's about being fluid with a metaphor that works for you in the moment, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does, and I think the process of nurturing is a strong value for me. It's a strong quality in my personality. So anything that involves nurturing ideas, midwifing, propagating as a gardener, any of those metaphors works for me.
So from that place of nurturing, what's your top advice for folks out there that just feel like they need to give birth, but take an idea and really develop it?
Well, then I think the best advice from that principle is just consider gestation as a principle, right? In nature, we know that, we pretty much know the gestation period of humans and different animals, yeah? But ideas, there's no fixed rule. So by considering the gestation period of an idea as being unknown, then you can, I think, be a lot more gentle with it and less likely to take the tiny little seedling that you've got and brutally chuck it out in the garden before it's too soon.
Yeah.
So gentleness is, really becoming like a mother of your idea, I think is the best advice I can give, and be gentle with it. It's precious.
Yeah.
So, give it the conditions it needs to grow and don't rush it. Just like a child, you don't want to rush it into walking before it's had fun crawling. And it's the same with ideas, is really start to listen to your intuition, your sensitivity to where is your idea right now? How mature is it? How strong is the root ball? And is it ready for exposure to the world? And oftentimes that's what I'm working with my clients as well, is actually really asking them to tune into their intuition, their sensitivity. How does it feel ready? Does it feel ready to be exposed? And be patient.
That's so cool. So if someone was out there with an idea that wanted to work with you, Nick, how would they get hold of you?
They'd come to my website, which is called blueskycoach.com or nickkettles.co.uk. That's it. And there's a phone number there, and they can come chat with me for 45 minutes for free just to find out how we connect. And I'd guarantee they'd go away with some insight that would help them on their path.
That's fantastic. Nick, thank you so much.
Hey, thank you, Vanessa. It's been great fun, and looking forward to seeing the video online and how your passion for helping people with soul purpose progresses.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Cheers.